Hey guys, question today, is Epoch truly epic? Let's see, Steve, does this Baltimore distillery stack up to Sagamore?
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the Epoch. I think it might.
We're going to find out.
This is the Maryland Straight Rye Whiskey. This is a 4 finish.
4 finish.
Rum, toasted, single malt, and Madeira wine cask. That's a whole lot of finishing.
That is a whole lot of finishing.
And coming on at 93 proof.
I don't think you get more different than that.
You can't, no.
So many different styles there, it should be interesting.
They call this the Distillers blend. And what this Distillers blend is Baltimore Spirits Company itself. So Epoch Distillers blend. So is it Epoch Distillery or is it the Baltimore Distillery that owns Epoch?
So the Baltimore Distillery owns Epoch.
Okay.
Epoch is their brand, but it is through the Baltimore Distillery. What's the proof on it, bud?
93 proof, so 46.5%.
Okay.
Forecast finish, Maryland Straight Rye Whiskey. 2024, so this was just bottled in late 2024. We're still so much earlier 2025, so recently newer on the whiskey market there.
Yes. So my brother-in-law picked this up at a whiskey event me and him went to down in St. Mary's County. I think it was around the $60 mark, if I'm not mistaken. It's supposedly a very complex whiskey. We're going to find out today.
Yep.
Go ahead and crack it, Steve-o. Tight.
Good. Fake cork.
Fake cork. Gotta love that.
The labeling is really nice. I'd like at least they have their almost like a glass stamp on top. On the front. I like the bottle design by itself. It's not the typical circle bottle. Yeah.
Something different.
Something different.
It is
something different.
Very something different.
Pour it a lot. You can pour a lot. It's only 93 proof.
93 proof.
I don't even know what to think where the nose is going to go with all those casks finished.
Just off the cork? Wow.
Yeah, so the Jamaican rum, toasted oak, Madeira, and the Single Malt Scotch.
That is...
This celebration of craft quality and creativity is a unique version of the BSC team, blended and bottled in December 2024.
I don't know what the BSC team is.
That's the Baltimore Spirits Company.
Okay, well there we go.
And we're calling it a Maryland Straight Rye Whiskey, so I assume they're making their own whiskey. I know Sagamore's is now 100% make their own whiskey, so that Maryland Straight Rye Whiskey usually does have a different style than other rye whiskey.
Yes, it does.
And
Basil Hayden used to be a really good example of that.
But they're not.
But they've gotten away from it.
But they're also not Maryland. They're not made in Maryland. Originally, forever ago from Maryland, but they're not from Maryland right now.
No.
Sagamore is. Oh, wow.
It's really complex off the nose. I don't even know where to start.
So we know the forecast finish. I do get some of that single malt.
Yes, 100%.
I get the Madeira. I don't get any rum from the nose.
There's something else in there, though. I don't know what it is.
And maybe a slight toastedness. I'm not sure.
That toasted barley, maybe? Like a barley? It's like a dark fruit, dark grain. I don't know how to explain that.
Definitely get that dark fruit. I get almost like a subtle sweet wheat from vibe to it almost.
I get a grain of some type.
You get a grain.
I can't place that.
A little bit of, I would say, almost like a green grape from it.
Like a less than ripe grape.
Yep, but a grape smell.
Yes.
No chocolate, no cinnamon, no vanilla, no traditional bourbon vibes from it.
No, not that. It doesn't have that cinnamony bourbon baking spice, any of that. It's
slight earthiness. I wouldn't say spearmint, but maybe like a slight earthiness, some grass.
Wow, it's very, very, very complex. It would take a well-trained nose to pick out the flavors or the scents in that because it's very, very complex. All right, let's give it a flavor.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. I don't think I've tasted anything like that.
I don't know what to think.
I know what to think.
That makes one of us.
Wow.
The burn kicks in at the end, but still nice and smooth.
Do you get a rye vibe off of that?
I can't tell if I get the rye vibe or I'm getting the single malt vibe. Those are both competing for me.
Yes.
I get the sweetness from the Madeira cask. I can't tell if it's toasted or not. That's the only one that does. That's the only one that does not stand out to me as a finish.
Not at all.
And I don't know if these are, you take these 4 and then blend them together and then you get this itself. That's what I would assume is what they did.
All right. So I'll start us out on this. This is what I would pull as an example of a overdone bottle. Everything's competing and nothing's standing out. Everything's competing for me. I get a little bit of that single malt. I get a little of that sweetness from the Madeira cask. I get a little bit of that earthy vibe from the rye and that barley or that rye note. I'm not quite sure how to place it, but everything's competing and nothing's standing above one. I venture to say it's not bad. It's just not amazing.
So for me, I'm trying to think about like what it tastes like. What does it remind me of? And the closest thing it reminds me of, which was a blend of 3 different and then finished and toasted, so it's a very similar. I can't remember what the build of that was, but the Rye 3 cigar blend. From what I remember, I'm going off my memory, not so much a fresh palate of it, but it's a very complex. There's a whole lot there.
Now that you say that missing element that I'm missing out of this is a tobacco note. There is a tobacco note. At the end, I get a strong tobacco flavor.
I can see that earthiness.
That earthiness. It might be a good cigar blend. This might have been a cigar blend.
I think they missed the boat. Instead of calling it, Distillers blend, they call it the cigar blend.
Yes, I think you're right, Steve. I couldn't place it, just nosing it and flavoring it, but there's a lot of competing flavors there.
One thing I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we both have not been to Epoch before.
Yeah.
But I do believe they have their own bottle your own bottle service, which is it's pretty cool. I know all the big distilleries out in Kentucky do it. And locally they do that too.
I've seen it on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube. They do that. They give you your own bottle. I don't think they let you blend anything there, but it's like they have a certain whiskey available that day for your own bottle. Okay.
Great nose.
Great nose. I believe that all 4 of those different finishes are competing, and there's not one that's standing out for me. For me personally, it's a competition, and nobody's winning.
Yeah, it's a straight tie.
Yeah, but that latent tobacco note in it and the less than burny, it has that more easy drinking vibe, leads me to believe this would be great with a good cigar.
I wish there was a little bit more of a toasted note to it. I know they're all competing, but even with they're all competing, that as a blender, you feel like you are getting the notes of everything though. So as a blender, that's a great thing. I just think it's a little bit too much.
It's muted. Everything's a little muted.
Yeah, I think it's just it's too much. You can taste all of it, but at the same time, it's too much.
Yeah, I agree. 110%. All right, so let's get down to brass tacks, see what we think about this one. Steve, you go ahead. Tell me what you think.
I like the variety of it. It's not just one cask itself, so it's a very unique itself.
Yep.
It is local. It is not MGP, so I like supporting that local as well.
100%.
So I definitely recommend buying this bottle. But rating, and what I would rate it, I think is just a blue.
Okay.
It's nothing special. I think it's a great thing. It's a lower proof, so I can easily crush this bottle. There's a lot of flavors to it. Maybe having on ice or having it smoked might elevate a bit more for me, but I think overall it's just a good everyday sipper, something nice and sweet to have, but not breaking the budget for the price itself.
Agreed. I'll dive deep into this one. This is a solid blue for me, guys. All day long, it's that $50 to $60 mark. It is available in Maryland. I don't know what distribution looks like
Or shipping,
but for $50 to $60, it's a buy. I think they missed the boat on it. Steve hit a point on that. This should be a cigar blend or something like. As far as a good sipping bourbon, I kind of stand back on that. Everything is kind of muted. All the flavors are there, but nothing stands out to me.
it's just a sweet bourbon.
It's a sweet bourbon with a nice earthy undertone to it with a tobacco note. Solid blue for me.
So, we're not a comparison video, but do you like this better or Sagamore better?
I tend to lean on the Sagamore side a little more.
And I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you too.
Sagamore is more of a traditional bourbon. This has a lot going on and it's competing for me, and nothing's jetting out forward at me other than this is a missed boat. It should be a cigar blend.
Yeah, and then calling a Maryland straight rye whiskey, that might be their bottom line of the rye whiskey. I feel like I'm not getting into that rye flavors,
no, there's not.
Which I'm a bit sad about.
Yeah, there's not a lot of rye there. You're competing with the cask finish here, as opposed to a straight rye whiskey that I really love.
Who this bottle for?
I would say this is for your guy who enjoys to sit out by the campfire and have a good cigar.
So us?
Yeah, us. But at the same point, I don't think a beginner bourbon enthusiast would enjoy this because it doesn't have that bourbon flavor or that rye flavor that we all come to love.
that beginner bourbon whiskey person get into it, I think this might be one to think about flavors from other bourbon. Like, oh, it's, you know, what do you think about flavor bourbon or finished whiskeys? Oh, I'm not sure about that. It might be kind of something to think about for them.
Good finished whiskey. It's a solid pour, not anything special, but you can tell the different cask finishes in it.
Would you wait in line for it?
No.
Me neither.
No, I would not wait in line for this.
Buy it back up?
No.
No, me neither.
Nah. When it goes, go find another bottle if you feel like it's necessary. But as far as cigar blends goes, or these finished whiskeys like this, I would say you could spend your money better.
Would you give it as a gift?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, unique bottle. It's got the Maryland logo on it.
Yep, it's
Maryland
pretty bottle.
Distiller.
Yep.
It's pretty. It's not going to disappoint you, but it's not going to wow you either.
All right, guys, like, subscribe, check us out on Instagram as well. Some other interesting stuff happening there too.
Yes, sir.
And
Explore the goodness.
cheers.
Cheers, guys.